Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and we have another very special guest with us on the show today. We are bringing back Sara Sauer from episode 67. Be sure to check that out. And we are talking about a very sacred and important topic today. We are talking about caregiving in all of its forms and how this caregiving is actually a spiritual practice and a spiritual path. Sara, I'm so excited to have you here with us and back here with us today and to go deeper into your expansion as a healer and share this with other healers.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. So excited to be here. Yes.
Yay. So I'm going to start by introducing you to Sara a little bit more. Like I said, be sure to watch her episode 67 of the podcast because we go deeper into her overall story. We're going to be really tuning in here today to this piece around caregiving. I wanted to have our interview series this time around give us some really solid, grounded spiritual pathways, tangible aspects and expressions of living spirit led and living an awakened life. So, we're going deeper into some of these ways that we can give these gifts. So, Sara Sauer is a love territory guide and sacred spirituality coach and healer. She serves as a senior caregiver and child caregiver. She wonders how it could be that she would end up assisting after supporting her mom on her 2.5 year journey with cancer, including being her mother's end of life caregiver before she had self care practices to avoid ever being burned out again. She could not believe, but ecstatically so, that Spirit then opened her to becoming a loving Spirit led caregiver. And those of us on the Spirit led path, we know this is how it goes. Sara was being prepared for this path in her own journey as she assisted her mother in making her own transition. Sara loves being present for those that she serves, including the families that hire her as they are the best decision makers for how to honor those that she's caring for. Sara loves each one where they are at as they are and finds out what they can do and then assist in all needed areas. Sara truly brings this ascended, connected to source perspective into her caregiving work so that she can truly be of the highest service to those that she is called to serve. Sara, I am really looking forward to going deeper here in this. Tell us a little bit about your caregiving journey. Now, you gave us some teasers in the bio that you had not anticipated that caregiving for your mother during her end of life would eventually lead to you serving as a caregiver for others. Talk to us a little bit about how being a caregiver has manifested for you after that experience with mom.
Well, yes, I didn't realize at all, though now because I was in a session with my mentor where it came up that maybe it's caregiver because I had tried different things I'd done before in my life and it was door after door, everything had just closed. I was done. My
Mhm.
spirit was saying there was something else. And so, Dr. Christian, when you brought up that about the caregiving, I went, well, I was my mom's caregiver,
Mhm.
which you didn't know at that time. And
No.
it, it was, it was amazing because yes, I went, huh. And I'm like, you know what? I'm open to this because I started to realize thinking over her journey. And I mean, when we found out was stage 4 breast to bone cancer and it was everywhere.
Mm.
So and I was there to assist her during she chose to do chemo and some natural options in Mexico for her 2.5 year journey. And then the last 9 weeks of her life, I had my 8-hour rotating shift
Mm,
where I was the caregiver, whether it was the daytime, evening to middle of the night, all night. It would vary because my sisters and I did the 8-hour rotating shifts.
mm,
And I got to see her during those last 9 weeks, going from who I knew her as to just basically unwinding. And then at the end, before she became bedbound, we would walk around the house and she would touch her clothing because she loved it to touch and she loved her clothing. She always did.
mm,
So we would walk around the house and she would touch her clothing. And I was just there to walk with her and be with her. So she had a companion, not knowing that that would be what I'm doing now.
wow.
Because
So,
at times, sorry,
no, no, go ahead.
at times she wouldn't even know who I was. I
Mm,
was just someone with her. You know,
mhm,
she would look at me and she would see someone else at times, and I realized that's okay. And now
mm,
with those I care for, if they're end of this life, knowing it's okay. You know, if
mm.
they don't always know who I am, it's part of their process of unwinding and getting ready for their next adventure.
Oh, I love this. This really honoring wherever the other is at that you're serving. The other piece I see here coming together that is really remarkable, and I want to highlight this for folks who are listening, is that you really are so devoted to the spirit-led path that when you were leaning into other possibilities and things that used to flow for you and they weren't flowing, that you were actually getting closed doors, that then when the guidance came through in one of your mentorship sessions, and I'm so honored to be one of your mentors on this path, you realized it was like the light bulb went off. You're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I have this special gift that I used with mama. And now here's the opportunity for me to expand that healing and care.
Definitely. Yes. Yes. And I was the only one with her when she transitioned. And at
Mm,
that time, I believed it was just transition. Who knows where she would go? Some people would say heaven, some people would say hell, you know, they'd say
mm,
whatever their beliefs were. And she just made this sound of joy, this sound of bliss. And
mm.
mind you, she couldn't speak at that time any longer. So it was just a tone that was just heavenly that I was like, wow, okay, everything I've been told off the table because none of it's
Wow.
real. That sound said it all.
Wow. OMG. I love that you brought this in for us, Sarah, because we're really seeing how your spiritual path and spirit-led path has unfolded. And to be there with your mama as she's graduating Earth, and to know all the stories that are told about death and rebirth and all those things, and to then witness her exhibiting a sound of joy and bliss, that I have chills. And I want to invite everyone who's listening to just drink that in. Like caregivers get to see things that no one else gets to see, right? Whether you're caregiving for the elderly or for children, you get to see things and be there for experiences that no one else gets to. And the fact that what you're seeing is actually informing your spiritual beliefs and your spiritual understanding of what actually happens when we make our transition out of these bodies into the next realm. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, and I continue to share it with my caregiving opportunities just because you can tell that there is a certain amount of fear that is keeping them, shall we say, stuck here.
Yes. Yes.
So
Wow,
being
that's
able to
big.
share those stories, that it's just so important.
Mm, I love
Yeah.
that. So when you reflect on this caregiving journey that you're on, your experience with your mom, you have this expansion in your spiritual path of your understanding of death. You're caring for children, you're showing up for families in all these various stages of life. Could you give us some of your top tips for those who are caregiving for loved ones or those who work as a caregiver? Like, just give us more of the top areas that we should know about on this caregiving journey?
Oh, yes, I would love to. It's
Yay.
it's so important, and whenever I meet other caregivers, I share too, because the more everyone knows that's caring for anyone else in any position, it just helps because
Mhm.
it honors them. So,
Yeah.
yes, choices, giving them choices, and sometimes it needs to be only 2 choices because 'cause they're not in a place where if you do more than 2, it confuses them.
Yes.
So, it's but at least 2 choices, whether it's the food that's coming up or the juice that's coming up, the clothing to wear. And if they're in a place where you set out 2 sets of clothes that they don't care for, they'll tell you, and then they'll tell you what they really wanna wear. So it's great because when they're not in the place to have more than 2 choices, they'll choose one of those. Otherwise, they'll be like, "You know what? There's this," or if they're in a wheelchair, we'll stroll on over to the closet so that they can peruse and make their own selection.
Mhm. Beautiful.
So, yes, and even the little things such as, okay, we know an event's going on. How early do you want to be? And then
Mm,
making sure all of the pieces flow so that they have their hair done how they want it done, they have their teeth brushed if that's important to them,
mhm,
having their water available because I mean that's huge is making sure that there's always water. I'm always drinking my water bottle and I always carry it with me.
mm,
So that has led to each of my care positions that whoever I'm caring for, no matter what the age, it's they're carrying their own water to make sure that they're hydrated.
mhm.
So love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so important.
So
Beautiful.
another is touch.
Mm,
And I mean, with my mom, it was she wanted to touch her clothing. And I've had some because I'll be upfront and I'll say, do you like to be touched? Can I give you a hug?
yeah.
Can I touch your shoulder? Can I touch your arm? If you're unsteady, can I hold your hand? And this
Mm,
is male, female, it does not matter to me. It's,
mhm,
I want you to be safe and to feel comfortable. If you can still walk and sometimes are unsteady, please hold my hand. I don't care what it looks like to anyone else. And that's what I'm telling them as we're walking.
yes.
I'm like, it just matters that you can still walk and you're here to walk and I can just hold your hand and
Mhm,
continue the rest of the way, you
mm,
know?
mhm. So
So
beautiful.
I have had just one who said no, she did not want to be touched. So
Mm,
then I did limit my touching to just when I was assisting with getting up out of the chair or getting up out of the bed or getting off the toilet for the toileting. I
mm,
tailor it to who it is until they get to a place where if they're bed bound, then I'm moving them
yeah,
gently. Still, it takes touch. So I'm always telling them, I'm going to roll you now and we're going to get this changed or whatever I'm doing so that they know, even
yeah,
if at that time they're not able to talk to me. Sometimes their eyes are open, sometimes they're not. It's still important though, because their spirit is still here.
yes,
So being able to talk to them, and you can tell sometimes that their body just relaxes a little bit more. So
yeah.
it helps. Yes.
Mm, love it.
So routines are also really huge.
Mm,
Before I start any position, before I accept any position, we go into great depths about what the routine that they're used to doing. And it's complete. If they're used to reading the newspaper first thing in the morning, if they're used to having that coffee or that tea or that water first thing in the morning, when they get their meds, different things like that. It's making sure that what they're used to doing, just because I'm coming in, I'm a new caregiver or their first caregiver, doesn't mean that everything's going to change because that might be traumatic, you
mhm,
know?
mhm. Yes,
So I so want them to be calm and to love the entire experience. So I'm always like, okay, what is loving to you? And then I will throw in different things, such as if you're used to reading the newspaper, I have, Love Now. I had this one lady, it was so fun. Every morning, she used to read the newspaper first thing because that's what she had available. That's what came to her door. That's what
Yeah.
she would do. We started reading Love Now, little parts of it throughout
Oh,
the day.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So, and she was really big on reading. I have, yeah, Ecstatic Union with the Divine. We were reading different parts of that too. She would want to read for a bit, and then I would read for a bit. So
Oh,
she was
gosh.
also really big on relationships. So I
Mm.
have How to Be an Adult in Relationships, and we would read. Yes,
Amazing.
we
Amazing.
would we'd read selections out of that. And you could tell it would just touch her heart,
Mm.
and she would be taking in because these are spiritual readings,
Mm.
unlike the newspaper.
Yes.
So you could tell that she was taking it in and just loving it.
Mm.
And I would always honor if she would get to a place where she was done and sometimes I'd be like, wow, you want one more? Because we'd be going for hours. It just, yeah.
Wow.
So, yes. So it's finding out that routine and then being able to add in the spiritual components that are just really loving, you
Mm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had one that she would want a wine in the evening. However, she also had dementia. So I added in apothecary as the wine in the evening. And let me tell
Amazing.
you, she said that was the best wine ever. And she continued to have it as long as she was up and about and drinking something other than water. Every night, the apothecary, we would have our drink,
Oh, I
our
love
organic, yes, loving drink.
Incredible. So, what I'm hearing you share here, and thank you, Sarah, for breaking down these tips for us, is that you're really meeting who you're caregiving for, where they're at, and then infusing the spiritual aspects or the high, we could say this better, the high vibrational aspects where there is comfort to do so. And I love when you talk about bringing in high vibrational books, bring in high vibrational foods. Now, it might not be exactly right. It wasn't wine, but it was this yummy, delicious, restorative drink for her that would actually help and support her health. And I can't help but reflect on these tips you've given and seeing that these really apply to whether you're caregiving for an elder or you're caregiving for children. You really can use all of these tips and apply them.
Oh, exactly, because it calms their nervous system. So,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
anything to have those routines, when we could add in exercises, snack times, the regular routines for the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner,
Mhm.
even, whatever we can do for adding in walks or if they're in wheelchairs, adding a stroll in their wheelchair, getting
Mhm.
outside when the weather is appropriate to be able to go outside,
Mhm.
playing instruments. I have
Oh.
had some beautiful people that play piano and they weren't playing because no one was asking them. The other caregivers weren't asking. And
Yes.
I would just be like, okay, I love listening to the piano.
Yes.
So I'm like, is this a good time to play? And if they would say no, I would be like, okay, that's quite fine. However, more often than not, it was yes. And even sometimes it would be, I don't play that great. And I'm like, you know what? I don't play at all. And I
Mhm.
just love listening. I would even record it and send it to their kids because
Mm.
I'm like, listen to this. And they're like, wow, we haven't heard her play that in so long. And it
Oh,
just, yeah, yeah. And if you have someone in apartments or condos, they would be really cautious to honor their neighbors and would only want to play at certain times. So I would be, okay, I need to make sure that on my phone, I'm watching the time or have this timer set to say,
mhm.
okay, it's 4 o'clock. you can play the piano now. Is this a good time? So, because otherwise, if no one was there, if they were starting to forget, they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't play. And if
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't remind them, they wouldn't play. The same with exercise. Not really realizing how important it is to move their body. I had one in a wheelchair. We did Tai Chi in the wheelchair.
Yes.
And then one who was still walking and active, and we would do Tai Chi standing in her living room, and she would love it because
Yes.
you could just tell it moves all of the energy. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like the more we can get them to move their energy, move all that stuck stuff in their bodies that they don't even know is stuck
Yes, exactly.
in a healthy way to move it out, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And I loved what you said here about find out what their gifts are and let them show it off if they, if they're in that vibe and they're willing to, lean into it. Like you gave the example of the piano playing. But this is really like what you're sharing here, Sarah, too, is so this path of love, which I know is very intentional for you. I know that that is really important for you in how you live your life, that you are doing so in the most loving way. And so, all of these top tips any caregiver can use to inspire them and to take care of those that they love. And I love again this finding out what their gifts are and let them show it off. I've like highlighted this in my notes because it's just like what a beautiful way to honor a lifetime, whether you're working with a senior, so you're honoring their entire, life that they've lived and some of their gifts that they love to give, or it's a child and they're just coming into their gifts. What a way to honor another soul and spend time with them and share space with them.
Yes. And even that just brought up there's with a gentleman, he used to paint. And I mean, he would paint really beautiful portraits. And
Mm,
so his children had said, "Oh yes, he's got all of his painting tools, his pencils, paper, etc. Bring it out when it comes up." And so one day I mentioned that and he's like, "Oh yes, bring it out." And then I realized when I brought it out that he couldn't. He couldn't paint like he wanted to.
mhm.
However, he put the pencils, he would take them in his hand and the colors would mean something to him. And you could tell he was processing something just
Wow.
by having that pad of paper in front of him and the pencil. And I get chills when I'm saying this.
Mhm.
It's just
Wow.
having, yeah, just having that presence. That's another one of my tips is that just being present to what do they love now? What did they used to love? If it's children, bringing in what might they be open to? You just don't
Mhm.
know. So if it's something that's around for them to try, it's like, why not? It's such a gift to be alive now.
Mm, it's such a gift.
It is. We are so blessed.
Mhm. It is so true. And I love that you bring that energy into those that you serve and into those assignments that you're given because they truly are spiritual assignments, right? You are divinely guided to those children and elders that most need this next level transformation or high vibrational shift or to lovingly make their graduation and complete their experience on earth.
Yes, that and the presence, because their families, as well as the person I'm caring for, they can feel the presence. When
Mm,
you go into that caregiving, they can just tell because
yeah.
they realize that I am never going to be too busy for anything.
Mm,
There is never a busy time when
mm,
I'm there. It just doesn't happen. If they're like, okay, this is all piling up, it's like, okay, well then what is most important?
mhm,
What would you love to do right now? Because that's where we're going to focus,
mhm,
because we're going to let go of anything else that obviously there's not time for, and rushing through anything does not calm their nervous systems. And so many, well, all of them actually, that I care for, they're in a position that having that calming presence to be able to take the space to think, you know, have a choice,
Mhm.
look at a couple choices and not just rush into this is our day and zoom, we're going to fly through it. That doesn't happen anymore.
Mm,
So, yes, because when you wake up in the day, you just never know whether it's a child or an adult. You don't know where they're going to be, where their
mhm.
energy is,
Yeah.
where their mood is. I mean, everything, there's so many different dynamics in the day.
Mhm.
So being present and listening, because sometimes they talk about some of the most interesting things and parts of their life that they need to process.
Yeah.
And I'm just there to be able to have this conversation so that they can say what they need to say and work through it, however best serves them in working through it. It just, yeah, I love bringing that presence.
Incredible. So I'm hearing you. The next question I wanted to ask you about was to talk to us more about how caregiving is part of your spiritual practice. And I'm hearing you say things like, presence and really listening and, um, you know, calming their nervous system, honor where they're at. Like there's just so many pieces here which is so innately tied to spiritual practice. But can you tell us a little bit more about how you view the caregiving as an extension of your spiritual practice and your spiritual healing work in the world?
Oh, definitely. Because the entire day we're spirit in a body. We
Mhm.
sometimes forget it. you know, I don't forget anymore though, because I wake up and everyone I care for knows this. I do my prayers and my blessings in the morning before it's time for me to start caring for anyone else.
Mm.
I'm taking the time to have everything lined up, my spiritual team lined up.
Yes.
Because I know they're all around. They're my team's around me, all those I'm caring for, their teams are around them. So
Yes.
I'm calling in the highest light because I don't always have the answers and I know it.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so important communication to find out, voicing that, okay, this is what I see that's going on. If it's medication, this is what I see. And now you as the family, this is your decision to make. And I've had some come back to me and say, well, what do you think, Sarah? And
Mhm.
I'll go, you know what? It doesn't matter what I think because it's what you need to choose and choose what's loving for you, because you were chosen as the one to make these decisions. And in the background, I'm offering up all of this to highest divine will, whatever it is, highest divine will, whether
Mm.
it's different people coming in for support, whether it's different medications, and then the families making their decisions. And I'm there to support them
Mm.
with those that are getting to the end of this lifetime. It's it's been sometimes really painful, though I know that's why I'm there, is because they're trying to regulate the medications to be in
Mhm.
a place where their parent or their loved one is still able to communicate, yet not in a lot of pain. And let me tell you, with all the different medications that many are taking, it's not easy.
Mhm. I can
So,
imagine.
yeah, they'll try something because they want it low enough to communicate. And if that's not working, I'll be there and I'll be that voice and I'll be on the phone so that they know and on the phone with the hospice team so that everyone knows what's going on. There can be a new recommendation. And again, they're making the decision. So I've
Mhm.
seen families go from here's low dose. Okay, there's so much pain going on. We're flipping to this higher dose to okay, now they're out of it most of the time. So now we're going to lower it a bit because we still have people here that they need to see. And I get chills when I say this because
Yeah.
I know this is their journey that they want to, more chills.
Mhm.
They want to be present during
Mhm.
this time before they go to their next adventure. They
Mhm.
want to be present and they want to tell people that they love them or be able to open their eyes, give them hugs. I mean, yeah,
Mhm. Mm.
it's just, so I'm just there to support whatever it is. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, and I know that the person I'm caring for is going through more pain. So if I can, I'll be there to hold their hands. You know what I mean? Or
Yes. Yeah.
whatever I can do to help relax them. And because once the people that are coming in that need to say their goodbyes and they need to say their goodbyes in this lifetime for, once they come all through, then they're like, okay, now you can go up to this higher dose. And then we'll see them go back in and out a little bit of they're
Yes.
here or they're not here, yet they're no longer in that more intensive pain. And
Mhm.
so it just, yeah, being a, a spiritual healer while I'm doing this caregiving. And I don't even realize it at the time. I had one gentleman who was detoxing all this stuff from his body.
Mhm.
The last 24 hours before he transitioned, he was sweating. And it didn't matter. Every couple hours, I was in there changing his clothes, changing his pants, changing everything. And I keep repeating, here I am again. Because
Mhm.
sometimes he couldn't open his eyes. It was so intense what he was going through. I'd be
Yes.
just like, I'm here and I'm going to change you because I don't want you to have rashes and I do not want you to have bed sores. So I'm
Mhm.
going to keep you as dry and comfortable as possible. At different points, we had ice packs, under the armpits, the back of the neck, and the wet cloths. It was like whatever I could do. And I didn't know it was his last day. No one knew it. And
Mhm.
so I'm just doing the best to keep him comfortable, thinking, okay, maybe he's going through something. He'll get on the other side. And no, it just kept going. I kept communicating with the family. They knew exactly what was going on. And then one night I was just like, okay, I am lighting candles. I'm being more intentional. I am bringing in all of the highest light, my team, his team. That's all that's allowed in this room because
Yes.
I could just tell the energy was so different. And it was just him and me. It was how his family wanted it. So I
Wow.
was there holding at one point, I don't know how long, I just had my hand on his chest over his heart and I was holding his hand. And I just kept talking to him,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I know this is loving.
Yeah.
He always loved when I touched him. And I was just like, this is just love. And he was breathing so fast,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I'm here for you. All of your angels, all of the highest light is all that's around you, so whatever needs to happen right now, he stopped breathing. And I just,
Wow.
yeah, that's where I was because I didn't think this was it. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm calling. His kids are not answering. So I'm like, I'm sending a text. And it was a minute later or something. And he started breathing. And then one of his kids called me. And I'm like, just so you know, he stopped breathing for at least a minute. It's up to you. They were close by. You can come now or not come. It's completely up to you. I just want you to know this may be it here.
Mm.
And they're like, we're coming. Like, okay. So I was telling him his children were coming, still holding him. And yeah, he left for good when they were walking into the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that that's how it was supposed to be. I just
Yes.
was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm that caregiver. Well, before this, I knew exactly whether he wanted to be cremated or buried. I knew who was going to be called. And if I was making that phone call, I had all of that I just knew because I knew sometimes at that time the family is in a place that they just need a little coaching. Okay, do you want time now? We can wait to make the first phone call. Do you want time? And some will take it, some don't.
Yeah.
And just going through the steps. So it's like he transitioned, he left this body, around 2 a.m. And by 5:30 was when his body left. And so
Mhm.
at 5:30, I'm like, okay, I also know that this is so important for caregivers that are end of life or just getting into it
Yeah.
to know that the hospice, the hospital equipment teams, they're coming often within 24 hours. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I had asked the family before they left, if they wanted anything that was on the bed specifically. And so
Mhm.
I cleaned off all of the equipment and left it as that. And I was living there. So I just went in my room to sleep. And yeah, so I went to sleep around 9 a.m. and it was around 12:30 that there is this huge knock on the door. And I'm like, oh, okay. Not much sleep, but hey, I'm here. Yeah, it was the medical equipment team picking up the equipment. And
Mm.
I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, he left the building at 2 a.m. and his body left around 5, 7. I said, and you could tell that this young man was just like blown away with the energy from
Yeah.
this room.
Yeah.
And he's like, I am so sorry. No one told me at all. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just preparing you,
Yeah.
And then here's where the equipment is. If you have a list. And yeah, he made his trips to pick up all the equipment. And after that caregiving opportunity, I started letting people know, you know what? If you don't want me to talk to the medical equipment people, that's okay. However, I need you to inform them that if they leave in the middle of the night, they have to give it at least until 5 p.m. the next day
Yeah.
before, because we need sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're there to support the family and to help everything get moved out as it needs to get moved out. It's just, yeah,
Thank you for
getting enough
sharing
sleep.
that.
Oh,
Yes, so important. I mean, as you were sharing, I was writing down the death portal is intense, and having a spirit-led caregiver makes all the difference because you're really setting the space for them, creating the sacred space, really supporting them and having whatever experience they need to have because it is different for every soul. And there are common themes, as you're finding, that occur for every soul. And so to be able to really show up for them and create a sacred space where you're reminding them of who they are and the support they have from non-physical, that is just such an incredible blessing. I can't think of anything more beautiful for anyone to have. Thank you
I
so much
always just,
for your service. Go ahead,
I'm
my
just
dear.
always saying, what is loving?
Mhm,
What
mhm.
is loving right now? Because
Yeah,
tomorrow doesn't matter. It's always what is loving right now, and I'm going to show up for it.
yeah,
And so that's why if I can know when the day starts approximately, and even sometimes it'll start, really early in the morning, and that's okay too, because I know what I need to do, just getting out of bed and walking, because often there will be monitors. There'll be monitors so that I can take a peek and see, that they're still, in position, still in bed, and I'll have the sound up so high so I'll be able to hear when they start to get out of bed. Because I had one and I had asked the family for the monitor, and I know this is all happening how it should. It just yeah. So I'd asked them about the monitor. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's coming home today from the hospital." The next day the monitor was supposed to be there. So the first night before I left him, he was already in bed. And I had said, can you just call out to me? Say, Sarah, say, hey, hello, say whatever you want if you need to get up. And I will be right here. Okay. And he said, okay. Well, I wake up in the middle of the night to a thud. And I'm like, oh no. So I'm like, okay, go in the room. And he's on the floor. He's in the middle of the floor. I'm like, okay, my dear. How are you? He's like, I'm okay. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, I wanted to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. Do you remember that I asked you to call out? He's like, yeah.
At least he's honest.
Yes. And he weighed quite a bit more than me. And I knew it. I knew I would not be able to get him off the floor. And I'm like, okay, I am calling your family, because I need someone to help get you off the floor. He's like, okay. So I did. And so I'm holding his hand. Well, his family's, they're about 15 minutes away. I'm holding his hand and I'm crying and he's watching me cry. And I'm like, yeah, I said, I'm here for you. And I said, I know there's nothing I can do to prevent this because it's already happened. I just want you to know I'm here for you. So when you're ready to call out for me instead of trying to get up, know it. This is what I love doing, even in the middle of the night. I don't care what time it is. You call for me, I am here.
Mhm.
And then later, after the monitor arrived, I would hear him getting up. And so I'd just be walking in and go, hey, what's going on? And he's like, how did you know? And I'm like, I just thought it was time to check on you.
Like I'm very intuitive and Sarah,
Yes. And I have such good help.
yeah, so beautiful with your spiritual team. Sarah, I'm so happy we could come together and talk about this today. This podcast interview is a must listen for anyone who is a caregiver or who is involved in caregiving. You were so generous, gave so many incredible tips for high vibrational caregiving, really providing a perspective on caregiving that is so filled with love and devotion to your own mission and path, and then to the path and honoring the path of those that you serve. It was just truly so beautiful to go deep in this way with you. Now, I know there's going to be people listening to this that are going to want to reach out to you. And maybe some of you listening are caregivers and you love to have a caregiver mentor or have a consult with Sara or a healing session with Sara to support you on your caregiving journey. And then there are those of you that are like, Sara is amazing. Can I bring her in to care for my loved ones? Either way, we want you to be able to reach Sara. And so the best way to reach her is Instagram. Her handle is Sara, Sara dot Sauer, Sauer. And that is the best way. If you direct message her, you can reach her and connect, whether you're a caregiver wanting assistance and support on your journey as a caregiver, or whether you have caregiving opportunities. Sara is a traveling caregiver. So if you have a caregiving opportunity that you just feel innately Sara is the right caregiver for your family, then definitely reach out to her. Sara, before we close, is there anything else you want to share with us as we close up here about caregiving and that this being a spiritual path and a spiritual practice?
Well, I just wanted to add having a large calendar to be able to put those special events, those family visits, even those family phone calls, to put them on the calendar, especially for those that don't remember or they just have so much going on. So their family, when they come in, they can see exactly what their loved one has been up to. That huge calendar has just been a blessing because it communicates what their loved one has been doing, even if it's exercising. It's like being able to have all of that and then having a text chain with the family. I always say, you know what, you may say this is too much information. However, I'm sending it all to you and you can decide then because I want you to know you're the family and that's why I'm here, is so
Mhm.
that you're not missing this part of the journey.
Yes, yes. Because so often they ask, like, what were their final days or weeks like? And so you're making sure that the families actually have an accounting of all of that. That's incredible. Mm,
Yes, that and the phone calls. I mean, if they're out of state, having those phone calls or those FaceTimes, Telegram, whatever way they want to do their video chat, is
mm,
just so important so they can see where their family member is at, even if
mm.
it's 5 minutes. And even if that family member does not remember it, they will remember it.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
about them having the memories that they need too. It's so important.
100%. Yes, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much again for being here with us today, for sharing so generously, and for your service to divine love. I could never have imagined when that came through from Mary and the team for you in your session that this was the next step on your path. I never could have imagined all of this expansion, all of this impact you're having as a healer. Your work as a love territory guide, we didn't get to that today, but I know that is infused wherever you travel to, bringing that high frequency. I mean, it's just such an incredible manifestation of being a spiritual healer and assisting so many souls, both young and old alike. So thank you, Sarah, and thank you for your service.
It is such a blessing. And Dr. Christian, such a blessing to have you as my support. It,
Mhm.
yeah, yes. I need you in the physical.
Yes, it
This
helps.
is
It
what
helps
we're
having, yeah, it helps to have our physical spiritual team and spiritual family on support as well, for sure. It's such a joy that the divine brought us together, and I can't wait to see where things expand to next. Thank you to all of you who are listening, who have been a part of this sacred episode on Awakening the podcast. We really, our intention is that this blesses you in your caregiving or also gives you insights and expansions for your own path and for your family. May this episode be a true blessing to you on your journey as we all are on this incredible journey of life and becoming more and more of who we really are. Thank you so much for listening. If this episode was a benefit to you, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let the algorithms and the AI and the bots know that you love this kind of content and want to see more of it. If you'd like more from me, please visit sacred-spirituality.org. We have transmissions, excerpts, from our books, meditations to support you on your spirit-led awakening journey. As always, this has been Awakening the podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang.